Today's video, I will be teaching you how to plant a flower, specifically a Gerber daisy flower. Now, before we start, I do want to make sure you guys are wearing old clothes, so an old t-shirt, old jeans, and some old worn shoes, because you will be getting dirty in this activity, and I do not want you guys to mess up your clothes. All right, let's get started. Alrighty, so before we start gardening, I need to tell you the essential things that we will need for this project. So first off is getting your flower. So I chose a Gerber daisy because I think these are such beautiful flowers and they remind me of the sun. So our next item are gardening gloves. Gardening gloves are super important because they keep your hands from being sunburned, from allergies, and from any pesticides or chemicals that might be in the ground. What will be needed for this would be our garden fork and a small shovel. Last but not least is our potting mix. So this helps our flower grow bigger with more blooms. It's kind of like food for the flower. It gives it more energy and it just regenerizes and makes it a little bit better. Alrighty, so this is the spot I chose. I chose this spot just because it has a lot of sunlight, which Gerber daisies love. There are weeds here, so we are gonna have to get that out. So let's get our gloves on and start working on it. So the way we're gonna get our weeds out is by grabbing our gardening fork and simply just pulling against it, just like that. Some of these weeds maybe need to be pulled, and that is okay. All you have to do is pull out. So I almost got all my weeds out. As you can see, we still have these little ones. It's very, very, very important you guys get these out because we do not want these interfering with our flower. Our flower could die because of these weeds. So make sure you get all the roots out. Now we got all our weeds out of the way, our next step is to measure how deep we need the hole to be. So what I usually do is I like putting my palm on the pot. So I put my finger right underneath this line just because for these flowers you do not need to have it dug under all the way up to here. That's actually not a good thing because you're drowning the flower in dirt. What it needs to be up to here so it can get some air and the roots can be able to expand well. So what I do is I put my hands on there and turn it to the side so it looks like I need to make an L, or I need all my 4 fingers and half of my palm deep of a hole. You will be finding worms when you're digging. Do not freak out, don't worry, just go ahead and grab the worm and just put it to the side. Make sure when you are digging that you throw a dirt right next to you because you will need that dirt for later. You can't really see it from this angle, but I got a hole started. So I'm gonna use my hands to measure it and it looks like it's there. So our next step is to get our flower out. This is how it looks out of the pot. As you can see, the roots are at the bottom and all over. See from the bottom, it looks a little destroyed. That's because I was pinching it out so that the roots can be coming outward instead of being plastered. It is very important that you do this because if you don't, then the roots may not be able to grow as best as they could. So don't be afraid, squish the bottom. If it looks like the dirt is coming out, that is okay. It is totally fine. Next step is getting it into our hole. So next step is to grab our shovel and grab some potting mix and throw it into our flower. You can actually start using your hands at this point and kind of just squish it onto the ground next to the flower, or around the flower I should say. Now you And start grabbing the dirt that you dug up and kind of just put it around the flower. It's nice and light, not a lot. So as you can see here, our flower isn't completely drawn. You can still see the roots, and that is okay. That is exactly what we want. So our next and final step is to grab our hose and gently spray our flowers right around the roots. It's very important that we don't drown the flower, just enough water to get it going. Maybe some on top to refreshen it a bit. Here we go. And final step is knowing how to take care of your flower. So for Gerbera daisies, they need a lot of sunlight, which is why I chose an area where they would receive a lot of sun to take in that nourishment. Secondly, you need to know when to water your Gerbera daisy. That is super important. If it does not get properly watered, then it will perish. So for Gerbera daisies, the way you know it needs water is simply by taking your finger and digging in right in about an inch in. Now if the soil feels dry, it is time to water. Or simply by looking at it, if the flower looks a little slanted or a little wilted, then it's time to water. If you like to choose another flower instead of the Gerbera daisy, that is totally fine. You can plant whatever you like. Just make sure to Google your flower and get the necessary items you will need, especially how to care for it right after you plant it. Alrighty, so I think our flower is all finished. Thank you guys so much for joining me today, and I'll see you next time. Bye!